The human mind, in simple terms, is what allows us to think, feel, and experience the world around us. It encompasses all our mental abilities like memory, perception, and reasoning. There are several scientific theories about how the mind might work, but more or less we have to say that we don't know, although artificial intelligence is now quite capable of imitating a human mind. My own theory is based on Gurdjieff's theory that the mind is a framework of 3 different brains or centers: the intellectual center, the emotional center, and the body. If we map these centers onto the layout of the life forces, we can easily relate these centers to the 3 lower forces. However, this video is mainly related to the intellectual center of our brain, which is deeply connected to the material life force and acts like a screen on which images and symbols are projected. One theory about how the mind works is called the computational model of the mind. At the heart of the computational model of mind are internal representations. These are mental symbols or images that stand for things in the world. For example, when you think about a cat, your mind doesn't produce a literal cat. Instead, it creates a mental representation of a cat, a fuzzy, perhaps even abstract version of it. These representations allow us to reason about the world without directly interacting with it. In computational terms, they are like variables in a computer program that hold information for later use. Another crucial elements of the computational model are symbolic computation and mental programs or algorithms. These are step-by-step procedures that the mind follows to achieve a specific goal. In the video on the life forces, I outlined that the life forces are a kind of fuel for our mind, and that the outcome of various cognitive processes is largely determined by the kind of fuel our mind is working with. If we think again that the part of the mind which recognizes and sees with our inner eyes is like a screen or canvas, then it could be imagined as this layout. A simplified model of our mind could therefore look like this. Depending on which life force is dominant or in charge at any given moment, the inner canvas of our consciousness will reflect different kinds of images. For example, with the material life force, something like this. Or for the vegetal life force, something that can be triggered by our emotions. Or with the animal life force, something that is triggered by our sexual drive. Of course, all this happens at a tremendous speed and often in a rather random sequence. It depends very much on our inner state, whether these reflections are a complete chaos or unfold in a more or less harmonious way. But at the present state of this world, we all suffer from another deep impact on the inner state of the mind. We are all more or less flooded by the enormous amount of images that are coming to us via the media. Together with the dominant material life force, this creates a very dense atmosphere around our souls, which restricts our access to the higher life forces, even though they are the only ones from which we can get help to lead us out of the mess we have created. Furthermore, our minds are deeply influenced by more or less hidden fears, such as losing our wealth, status, or security. And all this leads to a situation in which our human self can become the prisoner of our mind. This prison is built upon the reflections of our mind of the material world and the related mental processes.
No. What's this?
But this environment has begun to crumble, and humanity will have to face a new structure emerging from the rubble. But we are not alone. If we can let go of the old illusionary world behind us, we can experience a beam of divine light reaching our soul, which may guide us on the path to our true human life.